Phillips Petroleum Company was an American oil company incorporated in 1917 that expanded into petroleum refining, marketing and transportation, natural gas gathering and the chemicals sectors. On August 30, 2002, Conoco Incorporated merged with Phillips Petroleum to form ConocoPhillips, becoming the third-largest integrated energy company and second-largest refining company in the United States. The company moved its headquarters to Houston. In 2012, ConocoPhillips split into two separate companies. The legacy company kept its name, and spun off the midstream and downstream portions of its business. The new company, which owns the refinery, chemical and pipeline assets formerly held in ConocoPhillips, is named Phillips 66, the brand name and trademark used by the original Phillips Petroleum from 1930 until the 2002 ConocoPhillips merger. History: it was incorporated June 13, 1917 by brothers ALll, and Frank Phillips, of Bartlesville, Oklahoma, USA. Their younger brother, Wade Phillips, was the benefactor of Vermont Scout Ranch. The company was headquartered in Bartlesville, Oklahoma. Phillips Petroleum rapidly became a fully integrated oil company that included oil and gas production, crude oil pipelines and refineries, and marketing of petroleum products. Phillips Petroleum became heavily involved in the natural gas industry immediately after the discovery of the Panhandle gas field of Texas and the Hugoton field in Kansas. By 1925, it was the largest producer of natural gas liquids in the United States. In 1927, Phillips started up its first petroleum refinery in Borger, Texas, designed to produce gasoline as an automotive fuel. The refinery also produced other petroleum fractions. It opened its first service station, to sell gasoline, in Wichita, Kansas on November 19, 1927. In 1930, the company developed its Phillips 66 trademark. According to company law, a Phillips official was road testing the company's newest gasoline, commented that the car was going like 60, when his driver replied 60 nothing. "We're doing 66." All while driving on U.S. Highway 66 in Oklahoma near Tulsa, resulting in the number 66 superimposed on the U.S. highway symbol for Route 66. Frank Phillips served as president of the company until 1938. He then turned over the presidency to Kenneth S. Boots Adams, but continued as chairman of the board until 1949, when he was 76 years old. In 1942, the company bought more than 250,000 acres in the Hugoton Panhandle gas fields and a 25% interest in the Panhandle Eastern Pipeline Company. In 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court decided the landmark case of Phillips Petroleum v. State of Wisconsin, which held that under the Natural Gas Act, the federal government should regulate the prices which natural gas producers charge when selling gas at the wellhead. Phillips then divested itself of the Panhandle Eastern Pipeline interest, but remained a major supplier of natural gas. World War II greatly stimulated the demand for petroleum products, especially high-octane aviation fuel and jet fuel. Phillips turned to technology to increase the octane rating of fuels for use in advanced engines. The company invented an HF alkylation process in 1940. The American petrochemical industry took off, first making such as styrene, ethylene, propylene and butadiene. After the war, it formed a subsidiary, Phillips Chemical Company, which entered the fertilizer business by producing anhydrous ammonia from natural gas. The company then built a complex on the Houston Ship Channel devoted to making petrochemicals and polymers. During the 1960s, Phillips expanded its international operations, particularly with exploration in Canada, Venezuela, and Colombia. It discovered the Ekofisk gas field in the North Sea in 1969. In 1966, Phillips Petroleum bought Tidewater Oil Company's West Coast operations and rebranded its flying outlets to Phillips 66. In late 1984, Mesa Power LP Company, led by T. Boone Pickens, Jr., attempted a hostile takeover of Phillips Petroleum. Phillips remained an independent company but recapitalized with greater debt. This large debt caused Phillips Petroleum to begin selling many of its assets, including refineries, and led to the 2002 merger with Conoco. Phillips Petroleum Corporation and Chevron Corporation combined their worldwide chemical businesses in 2000 to form a new company, Chevron Phillips Chemical Corporation, LLC. This excluded Chevron's Zerunite additives, which remained with its former parent. Chevron Phillips is headquartered in The Woodlands, Texas. Accidents = Phillips explosion of 1999 = 2 contractors were killed and 3 men were injured in an explosion on the morning of Wednesday, 23 June 1999, at Phillips Petroleum Company's K-resin plant in its chemical complex in Pasadena, Texas. An alarm sounded at 11:30 a.m. when the blast occurred and a fire erupted. It took more than an hour for Phillips' on-site fire department to extinguish the blaze. Those killed were 24-year-old Juan Martinez and his uncle Jose Inez Rangel, who were performing a hydrostatic test on pipe until they were burned to death by 500-degree Fahrenheit molten plastic. Both Martinez and Rangel were employed by Zachry Construction Corporation. Today, the facility continues to manufacture high-density polyethylene, as well as K-resin SBC. This complex employs 750 workers for the production of specialty chemicals, including 150 operations and maintenance personnel. A massive propane leak occurred on June 25, 2008 in a utility easement just outside plant property. The Pasadena site was home to the 1989 Phillips explosion, which killed numerous employees and contractors after cost-cutting efforts by the company. The initial explosion was equivalent to 2.4 tons of TNT exploding, damaging the homes of residents within an 8-mile radius of the refinery. The initial explosion mushroom cloud was visible to area residents within a 15-mile radius of the site. 1980 North Sea accident the Alexander L. Kmeland, a drilling rig operating in the Ekofisk gas field of the North Sea, capsized on March 27, 1980. The tragedy killed 123 people. The rig was owned by a Norwegian firm, Stavanger Drilling, and was chartered by Phillips Norway, a subsidiary of Phillips Petroleum Company. Survivors and relatives of the deceased sued Phillips Petroleum Company for damages in the 6th U.S. Circuit Court in Ohio. The Circuit Court ruled that Ohio courts had no jurisdiction in the case, even though the defendant did business in the state. The verdict was appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, which refused to hear the case. See also: Chevron Phillips, Phillips 66, Phillips disaster of 1989, Phillips explosion of 2000, 2001 Humber refinery explosion. References. External links: Phillips Petroleum Company. Conoco Phillips corporate history timeline.